Mr. Al-Shemari, an editor in الإخبارية TV, has two questions. Actually has raised three questions. And one question is to you specifically, Mr. Muhaddisin, and that is, how do you assess the position articulated by the Deputy Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia a day before yesterday, in which he said the only policy vis-a-vis Iran is a firm policy and there's no compromise, and there is no chance that we will soften up our position vis-a-vis Iran. What do you think about this? Another question, again by the same journalist, and has also been asked by several other Arab journalists like Desmond News, is how do you see the prospect for an uprising in Iran? Do you think this is a viable prospect? Do you think the regime is worried about this? As you know, there are talks about deploying 50,000 Revolutionary Guards for security during the quote-unquote election process. How viable do you think that prospects are? These are the questions that he specifically asked from you. Then there's one question for Ambassador Terzi that I will raise afterwards.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shemari, Akh Faisal, for these questions. First, let me answer the second question, which is more related to the election, and then I will return back to the first question. Regarding the possibility of uprising through this election and in this election environment, I should say that we have an explosive society. Iranian people are unhappy and they are ready for having uprising and to overthrow this regime. This is the desire of Iranian people, the will of Iranian people, and Iranian society is an absolute explosive society. There are many reasons that these people want to change this regime. Economic situation, political situation, suppression, the people of Iran are really unsatisfied with this policy of this regime, export of terrorism, export of fundamentalism, suppression inside Iran. During the last 38 years, this regime was a catastrophe for Iranian people and Iranian nation. Iranian regime is trying by suppression, by mobilizing the Revolutionary Guard, by besiege and other intelligence ministry and other suppressive organizations, prevent this uprising to happen. But they cannot control forever. They cannot keep the society silent forever. So, in many occasions, like what happened in 2009, this explosive society showing itself in this uprising. And as I said, if there is some occasion for the Iranian people in this period of time to go out to the streets, Iranian regime cannot control and cannot suppress as they did in 2009. So it is a very delicate issue for Khamenei, and it is this possibility of uprising is viable. Is viable, and Khamenei is trying to prevent. And this is the reason that Khamenei cannot do everything in this election.
Actually, you mean it's a major concern?
Exactly, the major concern for Khamenei. Regarding the first question of Mr. Shemari, the interview of His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, the Deputy of Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, I must say that his position regarding Iranian regime was absolutely accurate and right. What His Royal Highness said regarding the nature of Iranian regime, and as he said, there is no benefit in negotiation with Iranian regime. This is exactly confirming our experience, the experience of Iranian resistance during last 38 years. This regime, our experience shows that this regime cannot be reformed. Our experience shows that this regime cannot live up export of terrorism and fundamentalism and dominating other countries. This export of terrorism and fundamentalism is the major part of Iranian regime's strategy for its survival. The other point, our experience shows that negotiation or some kind of compromise with this regime cannot work. During last 38 years, many parties in the world, many governments, many countries tried to have compromise. Ourselves as Iranian opposition, we tried to have some compromise with this regime in the beginning of this regime, 2 years, the first 2 years. We tried to moderate this regime, to reform this regime. It was impossible. So what Somov al-Amir said in his interview was absolutely accurate. I must add, this regime, it's very important. Let me say that this regime is not representing Iranian people. This regime is not representing Islam and not representing Shiite. What this regime is saying is some kind of new phenomena in Islam. As we say in Arabic, it is bid'ah in Islam. It is what we say in Arabic, what Iranian regime says under the name of Velayat al-Faqih. This Velayat al-Faqih is dakhil in Islam. It is Velayat al-Faqih has no relation with Islam, has no relation with Shia. Even there is no reference to Velayat al-Faqih, as Khomeini and Khamenei are saying. There is no reference in the books of Shiite Fuqaha, Shiite
religious leaders,
religious academists. So this regime has no relation with Iran, has no relation with Islam, has no relation with Shiite. What Iranian regime, Khomeini and Khamenei, created under the name of Islam is some kind of instruments for keeping their power, surviving their regime and to be in their power. And the last point regarding to interview of Deputy Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, the only solution for the region, the only solution for Iran is change in Iran, regime change in Iran, overthrowing this regime. This is what Iranian people and Iranian opposition, Iranian resistance are preparing themselves for this historical mandate, which is in benefit of Iranian people and in the for the region.
Thank you. I forgot to mention that the question regarding the prospects for uprising was also asked, as I said, by a number of other Arab journalists, including Mr. Mustafa Amare from Az-Zaman and Al-Arab, اليوم, among others. This has been widely asked, and thank you for addressing those.